Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds, and today we have one of our monthly staples.
It's the cards that are most worth buying in Commander, March 2022.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, bringing you daily Commander content, as always. All this time we've been doing it, so if you want to support the channel, you can just hit subscribe. That's the easiest way. Or if you want to go even deeper, patreon.com. There's a link in the description. It's the best way to support the channel.
Yes, best way to support us directly. If you like to support us indirectly, you can use tcgplayer.com. Same card, same place, same price. You go there, buy the card you were going to buy anyway. As long as you started with our link, the nerds are supported.
And special mid shout-out to everyone whose birthday falls on today, and all your pets too. So happy birthday, everyone.
Yes, and what's the last shout-out?
It's dragonshield.com, EU or US link. Just buy the best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves.
Through that link, and as long as you start with it, we get a kickback when you check out.
All right, so what are we doing today, BZ?
It's the Commander cards that are most worth buying. Not necessarily cards you should go be specking on and buying 150 of. Just the cards that are the most bang for their buck, where I go, we look at them and we say, these are especially worth buying right now for a Commander deck. You know, like I need to buy this card because it performs better at this price than many other cards.
Yes, exactly. So we're just going to hop right into it. And the very first one is a staple removal spell of the format. It is Generous Gift. $2 for the cheapest version right now. And you just need 1 million of these. Every one of your white decks just wants a Generous Gift. So for $2, I would buy like 10 of these because I just want to always have Generous Gift whenever I build a deck.
Yeah, this is some of these cards are at all-time lows. Some of them have fallen down over time. Some of them just got reprinted. Some of them have just kind of stayed the whole price the whole time, and we're like, yeah, this is still way worth it. I'm not feeling like I'm getting ripped off. Generous Gift is $2. It's one of the best removal spells you could play, spot removal wise. So I'm happy to pay $2 for it.
Yeah, exactly. This is like one of the gold standards for like 3-mana removal. If you're using 3-mana removal, I want it to hit every possible type it can, and this literally does. It hits any permanent type.
And be an instant.
Yes, being an instant, super, super important.
Yeah, we talk about like never play O-Ring. If you're playing O-Ring and not this, easiest switch in the universe.
Yes, oh my god. Giving them a 3/3 compared to like
giving them their creature back?
Oh no, that is so rough. What is the next one?
It's Lion Sash, brand new from Kamigawa, as in like a month and a half ago. It's 1 and a white, equipment, creature, and you can pay white and exile a card from a graveyard, and if it was a permanent, the thing gets a counter. And then it equips, and the thing gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. So you build a monster, or just play this and have it be a monster over time. And it's disruptive. Graveyard hate. I feel like Kamigawa's still all just cheap for the most part. Like a couple cards have risen to the top, like Boseiju. But this is just going to sit there for a while at the bottom, and then creep up over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. Lion Sash is just super solid of a card. It is, like you said, it's graveyard hate, but on top of that, it's a threat. And on top of that, it's tutorable with your Stoneforge Mystic packages. This is just a card I can't see many decks. If you go a Stoneforge route, I'm putting this in. This is such a great tool for to add graveyard hate to your Stoneforge package is just chef's kiss. And this is $2. This card's in. I don't know how much this will be reprinted. Obviously, I have no clue. But if this card just doesn't get reprinted for a long time, it's just gonna keep creeping out. It reminds me of Ooze. Like now, Ooze has been reprinted to the ground. It's 50 cents.
But back then,
but it was Ooze was over 10, like 15, maybe even $20 when it was only one printing. This card's very, very similar.
Yeah. The fact that it's not, if it was like a 4/4 for 4, I would be as high on it because it would be a little clunky. But being less than 3 mana, so it's recurable by every white thing that cares about that, like Sun Titan, and then being 1 power, so it's tutorable by like Recruiter of the Guard and an equipment, which means Steel Shaper Gift and Stoneforge can find it. In those decks, you're gonna have this like every game.
Yeah, exactly. This card, when you want this card, you'll be able to find it in the decks you're playing it in. So if you haven't been able to tell, we're going in Woolburg order. Our last white card here is Luminous Broodmoth at $8. This is a white staple. White loves playing creatures, and the fact that you can give them a second life is incredibly powerful.
White can also sacrifice creatures. We have all the altars, every single thing that just sacrifice creatures in Colorless. And then there's even Fanatical Devotion and I think Martyrs something in white that are all free sack outlets. So this is sort of eerily similar to Mikaeus the Unhallowed, who's like $43 right now, and it's just a combo machine. This has the same wording essentially, like, hey, all your creatures can only come back once. And there's a million ways to cheat it. Solemnity is one of them. Flickering them, sacking them for mana and then flickering them again and then recasting them, and it's just gonna go ham sandwich and just be a way to survive board wipes. Your creatures come back better than before. Luminous Broodmoth, $8. I just feel like obviously there's more of them than Mikaeus. I'm not saying it's gonna be $40, but it's really freaking good.
I mean, yeah, it's an extremely strong card, like you said. Even just being a second life for all your creatures with no sack outlets. You don't necessarily need sack outlets to make this card good. It just it presents itself as a threat every time, and it has to be removed before any of your other things can be removed, except for, obviously, your flyers. So that's just already a great strength within itself. And then, like you mentioned, on top of all that, this is a combo machine.
Yeah, or even just value. It's like, oh, you're going to wipe the board. All right, well, they all come back. Or you're going to say, hey, spot remove your thing. It's like, no, I'll sack it, and I'll come back, and I'll get a trigger, and then I'll sack this, and it'll come back, but then I'll sack the other thing while it's in the graveyard. And then when it comes back, I'll get back the original thing, and then sack it again and get it again. It's like, oh my god, it's too much stuff.
So it's a lot. So we're finally on the blue. What's the first blue card?
Yeah, I don't know how we haven't mentioned this yet. It's Mystic Remora, blue for an enchantment. Whenever anyone else casts a non-creature spell, unless they pay 4 mana, you're going to draw a card. And it has cumulative upkeep for 1. So it kind of costs 1 for the turn you play it. Make it around, another 1, make it around, another 2, make it around, another 3. And after that, you're probably going to sacrifice it. This thing is so nuts because it's, unlike Rhystic Study, it is pretty crazy at any point in the game, literally. There's no point where it's not an inconvenience.
It's tough to pay 4. Paying 1 sometimes is doable, and you can do 1, and you can even do it with 2 spells. But if you're going to cast an instant and a sorcery, 2 spells in 1 turn, and what are the odds you have 4 extra mana for both those? Almost none. So you're going to draw more often off of this. I'm always shocked by this card's price, and yeah, it's gone slowly up, but it's still $10. Mystic Study is like a $40 card. It's a $40 card, which makes sense because it's insanely strong.
Yeah.
But Mystic Remora, which it's most likely because it was a common, but it's been printed 0 times. Literally just 1 printing ever.
Rhystic Study was also a common, and that thing's been reprinted more.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it stays so low. Maybe it's because there's a lot more battle cruiser type magic, and there's a lot more creature spells being cast in those type of metas. But I'm not sure. And honestly, this is still just a great pickup for $10. It will be until it's at least 20, and then I will say, hey, maybe it's not worth it.
I don't even know what meta this is bad in. Honestly, if you're playing Rhystic Study and you somehow think this is a CDH card, they like the same card. They're both insane. This one's worse than Rhystic Study, so I'm not sure why you wouldn't just jam both in there. If every deck at the table has 20, spells that trigger off this, which is insanely low, then I am in, baby. Let's go. It's a 1-mana investment.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything that's not a creature.
It's not possible to pay for. I've paid for this thing twice in my entire life.
Yeah, I have to have a turn. The only people who are paying for this are the players who are way behind, and you're okay with that because it's like, all right, whatever. I don't need. You're already losing the game.
You're not even in the game. Yeah,
I'm beating you if you have a 4 mana to pay for my Rhystic Study.
Yeah.
Or not Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora.
Next is Nezahal Primal Tide. I thought we talked about this one too, but I guess not. It's only $1.50, and it's 7 mana for a 7/7 that can't be countered with gives you no max hand size, which is all whatever. You can discard 3 cards to save it, and it comes back at the end of the turn. Or, and the best part, whenever anyone casts a non-creature spell besides you, you draw a card.
Yes. So Nezahal is jokingly the grown-up Mystic Remora. Mystic Remora is a little tiny fish, and this is a big giant fish that draws off of non-creatures.
It's a Loch Ness Monster.
It is the Loch Ness Monster. This card is very, very strong. I think this is the perfect budget replacement for a Consecrated Sphinx. Mm-hmm. And it's very similar in a lot of ways in that you just draw a ton of cards. But what this has over something like a Consecrated Sphinx is eating all removal. Nezahal is one of the few things it doesn't just die to removal. Everything dies to removal. Nezahal does it. He throws it. Once you start building up cards in your hand, you can't get rid of this thing because they're just going to discard 3 lands and exile it, and it'll come back into turn, and it's going to be awesome.
It gives you the cards to fuel that overcosted second ability, which makes it not overcosted. Also, it can't add a removal on the stack. This is pinnacle of battle cruiser mid-power top end.
I mean, I think this is decent. Nezahal is a card that's so good. I think it transcends.
See some CDH play
in the higher play. Yeah, and I'm not gonna. It's tough for me to ever speak for CDH because CDH is its own thing that I don't play. But I'm saying you can play a 9-power deck and have this be your top end and be happy with it because it cannot be countered and it's not dying to spot removal. And in a higher power game where less creatures are being cast and more non-creatures, this will draw even more cards. Plus, in your higher power games, there's less spot removal, meaning you have to discard less.
Which lets us go on to number 6 on the list. It's Evacuation. 3 blue, instant, bounce all creatures to their owner's hands. It's only $5. And if you want to talk about budget replacements for staples, well, Cyclonic Rift is like, I think it's $100,000. So this being only $5 is much cheaper.
I mean, this card is underrated, I think.
Yeah, because it's so similar.
In a lot of ways. I mean, I would compare it more, so I think a great thing to compare it to is more like your board wipes, more your graphic odds, all of those kind of things. It's better to compare them to that because you're wiping creatures.
Yep.
So it's not really, Cyclonic Rift is better, obviously. That card's stupid. But $5, Evacuation is bouncing all creatures. This is an instant, meaning just like Cyclonic Rift, you get to hold it up until right before your turn. Play it, sure, you'll bounce your creatures, but you get to be the first one to rebuild your board, which is incredibly strong. It's the strength of board wipes, but this one you can cast even on like turn 5. Like after everyone's built up and a little bit from like the first 4 turns of the game, you do this on turn 5, bounce everything, and then you get to just get on the board first.
Yeah, it's got, it's not just a budget replacement for Cyclonic Rift. This thing can be played in tandem with it because it's still an efficient rate. Blue can't really do this on many things. They tend to make it restrictive, like, oh, you need a bunch of islands, or it's a sorcery, or you can only target one player, and like none of that stuff is that crazy unless you're building around it. This is just always good. $5. Boop.
Yeah, it's so much better than like a card like Etherize where you can only hit attackers. Like, no, this bounces everything. And
one more mana.
It's one more mana, exactly. Bounce everything for one more mana, and the instant is the key to this card being an amazing card. This card sucks at sorcery, but it's not a sorcery. This is an instant. It's just chef's kiss. More players should be playing this. It's a great card.
Let's go to black. This is a card that did spike up to a bunch of dollars, but recently got reprinted, and it just tanked. It's Nether Trader. Black for a 1/1 with Shadow and Haste, so it can't be blocked, or it can't block, but that's okay, because it has Haste. Whenever a creature you control dies, if it's in your graveyard, you can pay black to just bring it back to the battlefield. So this thing just does not go away. It has combos. It has just like machine gun sacrifice value. It turns like all your sack outlets into weird fireballs for being a 2-mana investment. If you mill it, you can just start getting it back right away. It was, I think it was up in the 30 range or something, and it got reprinted in Time Spiral Remastered. And the price hasn't started to creep up back yet. I would have to assume, since it can't go much lower, that it will. So if I don't have Nether Trader, I am picking up 3 or 4.
Yeah, Nether Trader is absolutely amazing. It's your critical mass black combos. They're everywhere. This is your Ashnod's Altars, your Pitiless Plunderers, or not Ashnod's, Phyrexian Altar and your Pitiless Plunderers are going infinite with this. Easily. Like, it is a little bit critical mass, or like 3 or 4 card combos, but this fits in the deck anyway. It's super good. Like you said, it lets you, if you have a creature that dies into a creature, you can turn all of your mana into just more stuff and just keep doing a ton of different things with this. Incredibly strong.
If I have 10 mana and a Blood Artist, all my creature deaths are doubled, and the cost that I have to pay on board is halved because I just have a Nether Trader. I have 5 tokens. All right, sack Nether Trader. Okay, sack a token. Get back Nether Trader. Sack Nether Trader. Sack a token. Get back Nether Trader. Sack it. Get back it. It's just insane.
Yeah, Nether Trader.
Nothing else does that either.
Yeah, if you haven't played Nether Trader, it's a crazy good card. And on top of all of that, all that stuff we mentioned, it's a little more. It's a 1/1 haste that can't be blocked. This thing is the king of getting the Monarchy.
Speaking of reprints,
we have Ophiomancer, which is currently $7. That is so cheap. This card was also creeping up. I think it hit the 20 mark.
It was only going to keep going up too.
And exactly. It had like no printings. It is 3 mana for a 2/2 at the beginning of each upkeep. If you don't have a snake, get a 1/1 snake with Death Touch.
It just poops out tokens. It's great with sack outlets. It's great for defending because the token is just free. It doesn't come at any cost to you, and it's not tied to the original creature. So it's not like, oh my God, it's Fang of Shigeki on turn 1. It's like, no, it's way, 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 way better. Nothing else does this at all. So I like it a lot, especially in metas where attacking and blocking doesn't have to be the main win condition, but it matters, or it's going to deter stuff early. I think $7. Whew, all-time low.
Yeah, it's just in combination with so many different sack outlets, this becomes good. It becomes, I mean, the one that is the most insane is Yawgmoth.
Oh, yeah.
You combine it with Yawgmoth, you're getting every single turn, lose a life, draw a card, put a -1 counter, and then do it again. And then do it again. You're going to do it you're going to draw 4 cards every go around, and it's just going to be bonkers. The card is very, very good. I want to mention Commander, I I didn't put them on the list, but Commander Collection Black has 2 other cards I think are worth buying right now, which is Reanimate, and it's, what is the other one? Toxic Deluge. Toxic Deluge we mentioned, I think, a little bit ago, not too long ago, not long enough that I'm willing to re-mention it, but I'm going to throw us like, hey, special shout-outs to these 2.
This is the best one, and you can go check out those other 2 in the collection. Maybe you want to buy the collection. Who knows? Next, go to Red. Chaos Warp. Still haven't talked about Chaos Warp. This is like the pinnacle of red removal mostly because it's instant speed, 3 mana. It's kind of like Generous Gift and Beast Within. But for this one, it's a little bit better because it just breaks the color pie in half and says red can answer permanents it's literally not supposed to answer.
Yes, one of the things that makes Chaos Warp so good, like you said, is that it answers permanents you cannot touch.
Should not touch. It's not like we're going to get more later on. It's like we're not going to ever get this again.
In red. So it is incredibly good. Yeah, the card gets reprinted normally, but at $1.50, super worth it. Any mono red deck for sure. For sure. Green, I think green red wants this. I think Is It wants this. There's a lot of different color combinations. Yeah, exactly. You just want this pretty much in almost all combinations of colors, except for maybe when you add white to your deck, then you can kind of avoid this. But other than that, I'm all over this. This is one of those auto includes for me. You want to just have these around because when you go to build your red decks, you want a Chaos Warp. It's it's a staple removal spell.
Maybe there's like a short we should do because I know people stay away from Chaos Warp just because it was bad for them one time, and like we can't fall into the like either sunk cost or like confirmation bias maybe is better, where it's like, yeah, but most of the time it is terrible. Like it does not win in the game. It does not give them even a threat or even a permanent that often. It's like if they're just going to get a land most of the time. It's really not that bad. I would strongly encourage anyone who's like, no, I don't want to give them a thing, to just play it because it is so worth it.
Yeah, exactly. There is a percentage of time, if you play Chaos Warp enough, you will get screwed over by it. You will. It will hit something and they will get something better. That is part of the small risk that comes with this card. But the percentage of hits to non-hits is insanely in your favor, and most of the time it's just going to happen. You might even it is possible, and this is going to happen to certain people, that you get screwed 5 times in a row because you have the worst luck. Somebody has to have that luck in the world.
Right. Doesn't change what the odds actually are, which is like, 1 in 25 or something.
Exactly. And also don't use the logic of, I've gotten screwed 5 times in a row, I'm cursed, I can't use this card. No.
That's gambler's fallacy.
That's not true at all. That is absolutely a gamble. That is absolutely gambler's fallacy. Don't use that logic. Just play Chaos Warp. Just ignore the bad results mostly because statistically you're going to get good results.
We have the stats. It's very, very like known. Not like just ignore them because you can ignore them. Just this is not going to bite you that often. Factually.
Yes.
Last thing, if you give someone a 3/3 with Generous Gift and then they pump it up and attack you for a bunch, I'm not going to say, oh man, I'm never going to Generous Gift again. Because it bites me once in a while.
Yeah.
You gave them something.
Also completely fair. Up next, we have another Time Spell Remastered reprint, Reiterate at $2.50. This was creeping up there too in price. I think it got in the $20, maybe $25, somewhere in that range. But this is 1 red copy of spell, but as buyback for 3 mana. There are combos with this card. Big, giant, huge rituals that make a bajillion mana can just go infinite with this card. And it is, besides that, really cool and just a fun card to play. It also acts, this is like the best version of the copy spell, I think.
It is the best fork in Commander, I think. Nothing else can just like combo. Also, if you don't know, buyback can be reduced by cost reducers. If this thing costs 4 less to cast, you can buy it back for red. That's game over, even if you don't have infinite stuff. But when you have Reiterate in your deck, you can just toss in Jessica's Will, and you can just toss in Mana Geyser as just good cards, free roll city, and then if you draw both of these, you put the original ritual on the stack, and then Reiterate it on the stack. Then Reiterate comes back to your hand. It's still on the stack, and you copy it infinite times with the mana you get from each last spell.
Yes, and then you just fireball. Whatever. Do something with... You obviously need an infinite mana payoff for that. Like I said, it is a good card. Literally the best version of this, I think. Like, it's not close. I don't want to play Reverberate. I don't want to play Fork. I want to play this. If I want 1 copy of this card, I want Reiterate.
Fun fact, you don't even need to go infinite with mana or anything. You just make infinite red mana. This comes back to your hand. play any instant or sorcery spell, and then you copy that infinite times because you have infinite red mana.
Oh, that's also true.
Lightning Bolt still wins the game.
I never even thought about that. That makes it even easier.
It's ham sandwich territory.
Yeah, that is ham sandwich territory. That's nothing. Literally anything. Gut shot wins you the game from that point.
Divination wins you the game, draws your whole deck. Then you cast another spell infinitely.
Divination, classic divination. You can impulse draw your whole deck too.
Yeah.
You can use like Reckless Impulse and just impulse draw your whole entire deck.
That's why I think Jessica's Will is probably the best one because you literally draw your whole deck and make infinite mana.
Yeah, it's true. If you have your commander out when you start the Jessica's Will chain, it's over. Yeah, but though, I will say the one thing about the Jessica's Will one way to go is you do have to make 7 mana. You do have to have an opponent who is kicking butt.
Or have reduced reader rate.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can also do that. That's true.
All right, if you're trying to beat people up, I think this is one of the best ways in the entire format to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Embercleave, Throne of Eldraine All-Star, ruined standard for like a year. Not ruined, but you know what I mean. $6.50 for a 6-mana flash equipment. It auto-equips, so that's just not even an equipment, basically. It gives +1/+1 and trample and double strike, and it's just out of nowhere going to annihilate people. You don't need that many attackers. Even if you're Voltron, it's still 5 mana, more than double the damage you're going to deal. Your commander only has to be 10 for this to be lethal. You can have a giant attacker. Muxus is a common one. There's plenty of 3-color and 2-color commanders that get huge or make extra combats like Aurelia. And this is going to go, hey, I'm attack you for a lot. They're like, oh man, thank God I have this jump blocker. It's like, Embercleave, you lose.
Yeah, Embercleave is insanely strong, like you said. It just pushes through way more damage than you ever expect. Not only is this like gives a creature trample. You know what? It's a great thing to compare this with. Compare it with Temur Battle Rage, which I think is playable in some commander decks.
Yeah.
Some commander decks love Temur Battle Rage. This is Temur Battle Rage that stays on the battlefield. It just keeps doing it.
Can move around.
It can move around. It can be put wherever. It's so much damage out of nowhere. Like, send a 6/6 at you. Okay, chump block. I don't want to take 6. All right, well, what if you took 13 instead? Obviously.
You have to respect this card, even if it's not in play, which is great. It's going to make people block differently when you don't have it because it's so backbreaking when you do have it.
Yeah, when your opponents know this is in your deck, it can literally cause them to make worse blocks around it and then just get blown out because you don't have it.
Yeah, this isn't like a competitive card, but I think pretty much as long as you're trying to attack, anything below competitive is fine.
Yeah, any non-combo. If it's not a heavy combo meta where it's going to be combo. If combos are going to end 90% of the games, don't play this. If combat's going to end a good 50% of the games, oh yeah, I'm in. I love this card. Moving on to green, we have Defense of the Heart at $13. This is a 4-mana enchantment, and at the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls 3 or more creatures, you search for 2 creatures and you put them directly onto the battlefield. This card is just very good. It demands an answer, or it demands your opponents play in such a way that they're not advancing the board state, which is obviously advantageous for you.
Yeah, that part is a trap. I tried this card out, and it was insane. I kind of got it both ways, where somebody was like, well, we can't ever play creatures. And everyone's like, no. But they just didn't play creatures. And it's like, okay, well, you got big tempo swinged and sort of screwed by your opponents. Someone just played their commander, and then, here's 2 giant things. And I think the next one on the list is actually one of the go-tos. But another good one is like Nyxbloom Ancient. We don't have to be tooth and nailing here. We're not trying to infinite combo with this. We wait a turn. We get the 2 best things in our deck for free. We're saving like 15 mana. And especially, I think with Nyxbloom Ancient's one of the best ones. You get that, and you get some kind of giant threat that lets you spend mana, and you just win. It's over. We're not literally comboing and winning, but we are dominating.
Yeah, exactly. Dominating. Absolutely putting ourselves in a position to win. And like you said, not only that, this can just combo. Like, if you're in a combo deck and your opponents don't have the interaction for this, they actually can't play their creatures. Like,
because they lose.
Or if they have creatures on board, then they're stuck and they're like, oh crap, what do we do now? There's nothing you can do. You have to have the interaction at some point during this combo to stop it. But it's just a 1-card combo. That's what's so good about it. This is nothing else. You're not doing a lot of investing. You're throwing out an enchantment saying, go, stop
4 mana.
me. Yeah, at 4 mana, stop me. I'm going to win.
Enchantress decks just cantrip off it anyway, and they're moving on to the next thing. It's like, this costs 2 less, and I drew a card, and here's some more ramp, and I'll play another Enchantress. And they're like, oh no, but the Defense of the Heart's over there.
Yeah, exactly. This card is just, it's not just good Enchantress, it's good. You can basically throw it anywhere. I'm not even joking. Like, this is a card that is just so generically good that as long as you can reliably say, my opponents will have 3 creatures, throw it in.
Yeah, if you play 7 drops, get this in there. And one of the ones I mentioned, we're going to skip around so that I can talk about Kodama of the East Tree. It's one of the best things to get off that because now you're just, everything you play gets doubled. But 6 mana, 6/6 with reach, I think, not that anyone cares. Whenever a permanent enters the battlefield, if it didn't enter with this ability, you put a permanent with equal, which is equal or lesser mana cost, from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate this ability, trigger it as many times as you feel like, go infinite, forever, $2.50 or $7 for the foil?
No, for the etched.
For the etched foil.
The etched foil. $7 for the etched foil. I don't know what a regular foil's worth. Nobody wants
Probably
that.
5 cents because nobody cares.
Because it's curl. Yeah,
it's a Commander Legends card.
It's an absolute Pringle. Yeah, but the etched foils do not curl, and it's only $7. I think that people kind of sleep on this in the 99. I'm being this is not just a commander. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great commander. It's very strong. One of the best partners we have. Probably top 5, maybe top 7, whatever.
CCDH play.
CCDH play, and it has a ton of combos. And you don't even have to combo with this.
Nope.
It's an incredibly strong card. It doubles the amount of mana you're playing with every single turn, which is bonkers. If you play a 7-drop, you get a new 7-drop.
Lands get you lands.
Lands get you lands. The fact that it's equal is, oh my god, this card is so good. Just forget. I think the partner tax is what's keeping this down. I think people look at it and think that's a commander. You have to play in the command zone.
Nope. Just play it literally anywhere. I mean, I think part of it actually, the reason people aren't playing this is because it's too good. Like when you play it, it's like guaranteed 5-minute turn, or you're going to win the game, or bury people if this isn't answered. I question why it's so cheap exactly, because it's obviously insane and people still want to buy insane cards. It's not like, even Opposition Agent's more expensive than this, and I think this is way better than that card. We kind of had the top 6 from Commander Legends. Everyone was like, in consensus, it was like, Jeweled Lotus, Opposition Agent, Hull Breacher, Jessica's Will, Akroma's Will, and Kodama. And it's like, the rankings have totally flown all over the place to the point where Hull Breacher was at the top, and now I think it's like Jessica's Will and Kodama at the top from that set, not Opposition Agent, and not even necessarily Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah, this card is really, really strong. Up next, we have a removal spell, Song of the Dryads, $11.50 currently. 3 mana, enchants a permanent, it becomes a colorless forest. Yes. This is green. It's like best removal spell.
It's their Chaos Warp.
It's their, Beast. You have Beast Within and this. It is literally those two sitting right next to each other as just incredible removal spells. Now, yes, they can get their thing back by removing your thing, but they don't get ETBs again. Mm-hmm. Super good. And the cherry on top, the thing that makes this card as good as it is it locks commanders onto the battlefield in color. And it's got that enchantment type that we've talked about. It's sticky. It's hard to remove, especially for a lot of colors. They're in red. Oh, they have one card in the whole deck that can answer it.
Yeah, and I really want to... I know that we're confusing some people because O-Ring is also an enchantment, and O-Ring is also a sticky enchantment.
Like I said, the ETB thing, incredibly important, and the locking down of commanders. Both of these things combined take from unplayable O-Ring to one of the best removal spells that you can play in green.
And it stays on the field, so you're not getting any stupid re-ETB triggers. Like, you can play, if you're green, white, and you're playing O-Ring, bye-bye. Song of the Dryad's going to be much better. O-Ring has nothing on this card. O-Ring has nothing on any card. We're just going to hate on that for the entire video.
And you can't lock commanders in the field, like you said. So that's already gone. That's like one of the best. That's one of the best parts of Songs of the Dryad is that you get to lock a commander field. You don't get to do that with O-Ring. They just put in their command zone every time.
Up next, the last green card. Just whenever you see it, you just have to roll your eyes. It's Seaborn Muse for $10. 5 mana doofus. Untap all your permanents every turn. Every player's turn, you get to untap. Oh boy. It's not, by itself, it's not the craziest thing in the world. When paired in the right deck, with a flash deck, or when all your things have flash, it is a banned card. It's Prophet of Krufix, and that means you're going to get destroyed if you don't answer it.
Yeah, the decks you want this in, like you said, flash. You're playing lots of things at instant speed, doing all that. You can also combine this with, what is it called? Activated abilities. If your commanders are like Thrasios, if you have Thrasios, if you have Tasigur, there's a ton of activated ability commanders. What's his name? Kenrith the Return King. Obviously, this fits right in the deck because you already have that mana sink. As long as you need mana sinks, ways to use your mana every single turn. As long as you're using the mana each turn, this card is bonkers insane, one of the best cards in your deck.
I mean, I'm going to put, this is going in one of my commander decks. The commander is Nidalea Keen-Eyed. Pay 3 mana, maybe draw a card already insane.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, if I have 9 lands, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more shots at a card every single just for nothing.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. I mean, that's super good. I mean, like you said, that's free because as long as you have a way to use the mana any way, it doesn't matter what you're doing because anything in your deck that's going to actively be using mana is going to be an advantage. It's going to be good for you. It's going to be good. So you just use the mana and you'll be happy with this card.
Yeah, this one is fresh off a reprint from Commander Legends or Commander Collection Green, and I don't foresee any more coming anytime soon. This is not at all the power level of a Precon or a Commander Legends 2 card. This card's nuts, and it's just not going to get. I just don't think it's going to get reprinted to the point that if it's $10 and I need one, I'm snapping it up.
Yeah, well, yeah, the power of this card. It's an overplayed card because people put it in too many decks.
Yeah.
But in the decks it is meant to be in, like those decks, this must kill. Definitely worth $10 every single time.
Let's go to Multicolor Aura Shards, $8 for an enchantment that says whenever a creature enters under your control, naturalize something. This is removal on steroids because it's just, yeah, you pay a premium and you don't get anything, but the key is follow it up with anything and you're now even on 1-for-1. And if you're making tokens, if you're flickering, if you're just playing multiple creatures in turn, this will dominate the board to the point that if no one removes it, all artifacts and enchantments are destroyed that aren't yours, and no one can play anymore because they're just going to die.
Yeah, exactly. This is good to the point of almost unfun in a lot of situations. It's so good. And for $8, it is amazing. Yes, this is a multicolored card. You have to be in green and white. So this is a specific to, like, restricted more than most cards are. But as soon as you're in those colors, I don't know what green and white decks aren't playing a ton of creatures already.
Not many.
Not many, exactly. So you're going to control the board of artifacts and enchantments, get rid of all the annoying ones, and then prevent players from wanting to spend mana on new ones because they know they'll die.
Yeah, it is just a brutal card. It is like it showcases how good green and white are at just naturalizing everything.
Yes, I literally have cut this card from decks because I think it's such an oppressively strong and amazing card.
Yeah, we have friends that don't play it, and it's not like this isn't a competitive card. This is just like a casual bomb.
Up next is another multicolored card. It's Kaya's Guile. It's $2.50, nice and cheap, and it is an instant with 4 choices.
You know them?
I do think I know them. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Exile all graveyards. Oh, why am I forgetting all of these all of a sudden? What's the other 2?
Make a spirit with flying or gain 4 life. Notably, it exiles all graveyards that aren't yours.
Yes. So this card is just strong. It's all the most combined. And on top of that, I didn't even mention, it has twine. So if you need to do all of these, you can just do all of these some of the time. The sack exile all graveyards is strong, and it gives you both instant speed interaction combined with a way to answer graveyards, which at instant speed for cards is not that many.
Yeah, early in the game, this is a guaranteed 3-for-1. Late in the game, you're probably going to get a 2-for-1 off of it. You're going to still hit relevant things, and it's nice to exile graveyards. I like the fact that there's some extra life gain tacked on. When you're in those lower power levels and damage is being thrown around on board, it's nice to have some ways to just bolster your life total.
Exactly, yeah. It's incredibly nice to just a little bolster. I love that this can be entwined. I love that it scales into the late game a little better because a card like this will fall off super hard late game usually. Mm-hmm. But entwining it gives you a little bit of everything. It's going to give you the Spirit's a chump blocker most likely. It's going to give you 4 life. And getting rid of graveyards later in the game, super, super strong. Everyone starts playing with the graveyard as it gets late.
Yeah, it's really a nice free roll way to have extra graveyard hate in your deck. Always comes in handy. Always performs well, Kaya's Guile, and I think for $2.50, I'm in.
I'm 100% in. Next, we have another card we're super high on.
Yeah.
It was just good in a recently recorded episode of Shuffle Scuffle coming to you.
Stay tuned.
Eventually. Thematic Compass, $3 for a 2-mana artifact. Pay 3. Tap it. Go get a basic land. Put it into your hand. But what makes this card so good is once you have 7 lands in play, it flips over into a land that makes colorless mana or is a Maze of Ith.
So much better than Maze of Ith. Oh, man. Maze of Ith does the opposite of help me hit my land drops early. Maze of Ith screws me out of a land drop early. This says, play it, pretty low costs, only 2 mana. Now, if you were to miss a land drop, which is kind of disastrous in the early game, you don't. You get to waste your turn. It's not efficient, but you find a land and bail yourself out. Otherwise, forget this exists, turn it into Maze of Ith later, and just dominate combat and force attacks elsewhere, or force people into you, and then, or mess people up with other attacks. Like, hey, I'm going to attack this guy for 30 with lifelink. It's like, no, I will stop you from gaining 30 life.
I'm going to say that how this card has performed has made me reconsider Maze of Ith. Now, I don't. That's not what this episode's about. But the fact of this ability has
political.
It's so political. It's so strong. And I know, people have mentioned before, Maze of Ith's a combo piece. This can't combo. This doesn't have any of that stuff. But that doesn't matter. This card is still incredibly strong, and it helps you hit land drops when you need them most. I'm willing to pay 3 I'm willing to take a tempo loss to not knock myself completely out of the game.
A
by
worse
missing,
tempo loss.
By missing a land drop. Missing a land drop can just be backbreaking in a game of Commander.
I mean, it's a worse tempo loss than like skipping turn 3.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, it literally is in a lot of situations.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm back in on Maze of Ith. Probably not, unless it's my 47th land or it's a spell or something.
I mean, So if you just want me, I'll just go over it real quick. Well, the reasons I think I'm back on it. So I think the key is you played it in a spell slot, 110%, and that's basically it. Now your deck has to care about it in some little way. I love it with crop rotation, ways to get it, and these kind of things that make it good, make it better. I love it in green decks that can ramp so that we can both get a ton of mana into play and not feel bad missing a land drop at some point.
Yavimaya Urborg, maybe even Urborg. Like if you're in a green deck, maybe both.
Yep. So I'm back on it. I'm being honest. I really do think Maze of Ith is a card that I'm willing to say, hey, after watching how well Thematic Compass Flipped has played, Maze of Ith is probably combined with comboing.
To me, the combo,
it's a
I
bonus.
just kind of I fall asleep and don't care too much about that. I don't think that's a reason to play the card. If you're already playing the weird untappers and instant speed, infinite mana outlets, and Maze of Ith, they combo together. I'm never gonna put that combo in a deck though.
I agree. Yeah,
it's not like a combo you just insert.
I'm just saying it's bonus.
It's a thing.
To what Maze of Ith can do.
It's a thing for sure.
So look at this video. This is the video where one nitpicking nerd admit he thinks that Maze of Ith is better than he thought it was.
Well, how about this? Let's not admit anything. Let's say we're gonna try Maze of Ith.
Yeah, that's
see what happens. We'll get back to you. Second last card, another colorless one. Ashnod's Altar. Now, nobody is thinking Ashnod's Altar is bad. No, it's an amazing card. Everybody knows this, but it's $9.50, and it is one that has crept up and will continue to creep up until the day I die and the day after. It's just not going to be reprinted very often. Not too many opportunities. Some premium product every now and again, which is why the price keeps going from $30 to $20 to $9, and now it's going to go back up to $10, $20, whatever. But I would just encourage to pick it up. Don't see it getting much lower. Sack a creature, make 2 mana. This is the only card that does that. That's it. There's this, and there's nothing else ever. This combos with a ham sandwich. It is to the point where it's like a yawn, Ashnod's Altar, okay, whatever. Do your thing. And they're going to do their thing, and they're going to roll you into a pretzel.
Yeah, this is, again, just to mention, this is bang for your buck. This is not the best time to buy Ashnod's Altar. The best time was 2 years ago or 3 years ago when it was $1.50.
Right. Buy it now because it's still worth $9.50, not close. It's worth $20. It's worth $30.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't about making money. This is about bang for buck, and it is not even close. Ashnod's Altar is a combo piece. It is just a strong card. It works in so many different decks. It is one of the top 3 sack outlets in the whole entire format. It's completely insane.
Been a while.
It has been a while.
Completely insane. Phyrexian Altar is $100. There are board states where this is better. So
and it's got different combos.
Way different.
It's got the Nim Deathmantle combos. That's not a combo you get.
Oh, with Grave Titan.
With any creature that ETBs to make 2 other creatures.
Oh.
Doesn't have to be Grave Titan.
Darn it. Shouldn't be Grave Titan.
It shouldn't be. Yeah, it does not need to be Grave Titan, and it shouldn't be Grave Titan. Yes.
Any tokens deck, you don't even need to be an Aristocrats deck. If you're just making dumb bodies and you have X spells, get this in. It's real good.
Like you said, any bodies deck. Think of, you're playing in your tokens deck. You're playing those X spells that just make tokens. You can just sack all your tokens into more tokens.
You can end step, strive out, call the Coppercoats, get a bunch of stupid soldiers, leave up a white, and then turn it all into double with Secure the Waste.
Exactly. Oh god, this card, it's so good. There's not just one thing to do with this. You can combo, you can use it for value, you can make 1 million mana. This card is good in 1 million different kinds of decks.
I think as an experiment, if you have a deck that has more than 20 creatures in it, or 20 ways to make creatures, I think you could just throw this in with no synergy at all, and it'd be amazing.
Yeah, agreed completely. So what's the last one? What's the very last one? You needed a land for this video.
I wanted a land.
And you found a land. What is it?
I think Cabal Stronghold, $5. Mono Black tends to be this parasitic snooze fest of a land base anyway, where it's 25 swamps, 3 utility lands, and then Cabal coffers and this. And I just I'm like, $5? Really? This thing's already 3 years old, and it's just not going up. So if I foresaw myself building mono black decks, or at least one, because I don't have any, I would have to snap this up. This is like a good card. It is not bad. The thing about Cabal Coffers is, okay, you better make sure, because you're missing a land drop right now. You're going to make it up later, but you're missing one early, put it in a spell slot. This is like just taps for mana. There's no downside.
Exactly. It just taps for mana, and then it scales super well. Literally every single turn of the game, it's better and better and better, to the point that it becomes a backbreakingly strong land in the late game that is going to give you such a huge mana advantage.
It's people, I think, stray away from it because it's worse than Cabal Coffers on the surface. It's like, it's you have to have 5 basic swamps before this does anything. Except the floor is nothing. It's just a land that makes mana. It's not going to sit there. It makes mana cast your spells. Early, it's better than Cabal Coffers. So I'm in on Cabal Stronghold. If you're playing stupid Cabal Coffers, which I hate, play a second one and make me hate you even more.
Yeah, exactly. Cabal Stronghold is just an incredibly good card. Card we've definitely come around on a lot in the past year. But that is our video. Special shout-outs to every single one of our patrons. Love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. Seriously, thank you all for the direct support. We love you.
Yeah, and you can go to tcgplayer.com and give us more indirect support by buying the cards that you're going to want anyway. Go buy Kaya's Guile, go buy Kodama the East Tree, and go buy Embercleave. You have to go buy those. So when you're going to go buy them, since you have to, start with the affiliate link, and we get kickback on the order when you buy them.
Very, very much appreciated. You can also use Dragon Shield affiliate link in the description below. There's an EU and a US link. Start with either one of them. Doesn't even matter.
I don't care.
I would suggest, based on your location, you pick the one that applies to you, but whatever.
I'm not the boss of you.
Yeah, you do you. And then you buy the best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves.
Or you can buy, some awesome deck boxes or some awesome playmats. They have tons of Magic accessories. Get them there. Support the nerds using our link.
When you do us a favor.
I like that. It's really cheesy, but I really like
It's really stupid.
When you do us a favor.
And you got to leave it. You got to go us a favor. So they're like, wait. And then they lean in. They're like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Do us what?
Tidbit about our lives. It is very early in the morning. We were recording this one before the video's coming out. So this is 3-4 hours before you're seeing this. This is literally being recorded.
Get ready for me to be double shirted between 2 videos because they're the same day. They're going to be on the same day, a couple hours apart. Terry's needed his beauty sleep last night, and so I stayed up way too late, and now I need my beauty sleep.
It's his own fault. He was aware of the whole situation.
It's my fault. I was nice last night. Let you go to sleep at 10 p.m. instead of midnight like we usually do. So I'll take the hit in the morning, whatever.
You can go to bed at any time you want. You're acting like if I go to bed early, you are physically unable.
I didn't want to.
Well, that's a great point. I think you made the point for both of us.
I think I did.
For right there. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.